Don't be annoying, Kevin.
Good evening, welcome to the Tuesday, January 20th meeting of the Planning Board. I'll call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll start with a roll call of members present. Mike Caparillo, Chairman.
Tom Young, Vice Chair.
Bob Curtis, member.
Mike Proto, clerk.
Russell Blanchett, member.
Jason Garrett, member. Kevin Bork, member.
Thank you very much. And we will start the evening with public input. Any members of the public wish to speak? Okay, close public input. First item on the agenda is public hearing zoning section 507.04, performance standards accessory dwelling to 800 square feet from 650 square feet. Application things to amend section 50704 of the accessory dwelling unit. The town's assessing dwelling unit ordinance, section 507 of the zoning ordinance, was adopted in 2012. Since that time, as part of the building permit application review process, it has become apparent that the maximum of 650 square feet for an accessory unit is not always adequate, particularly in instances where a handicap accessible design is needed or where there may be two or more people living in the unit. The proposed amendment seeks to increase the maximum size of such units from 650 square feet to 800 square feet. And I'd like to open to public comment. Oh, you're quiet.
Building inspector, Trees Falling, Charles Bancroft Highway. I submitted this thing for change. Hot seat. Every word you say is on television, right?
Again.
I submitted the change to the board because what I'm finding, as I said, when you get into a family or a mother and father or a mother and child, okay, which is the purpose of the accessory dwelling unit to take care of kin, that the two bedroom 9 is what you're gonna need, okay, and that when you get into wheelchair accessibility, you don't make it with the 650 square feet. Your bathroom gets double the size. Your hallways and your room itself, just getting around the bed and stuff. So I found that I could have gone bigger, but I think we can get it to all fit in the 800 and still make it. Things change in the demographics of the person who go in there. I just recently had one that's in town that is only 38 years old. And the demographics, her physical needs are changing, where she's going to get into certain Hoyer lifts and other things, and that affects the sizing of the rooms tremendously to get her in and out. So it's just logic. Okay?
Have you had any where you would have had to go above 800?
Yeah.
Any requests from landowners?
I've had 2 requests for the zoning board, and they've been approved already.
They've been up for over 800?
No.
Over
Well, the ones-
650?
I can get in the fit for 8, meet all the needs for that one person who needs a lot more.
Yep.
And 2, I can get those to fit.
Under the 8, or at the 800 mark?
At the 8,
Okay.
okay?
And if for some reason someone had to have something larger, they could go to the zoning board
The
or adjustments and they
zoning board,
could,
because it's gonna be a physical condition that's going to affect that.
okay.
And the hardship will be in the physical condition.
And are there parameters or is it more of a judgment call from,
Pardon me?
are there parameters or is it more of a judgment call? Whether the physical,
There are parameters when you get into the physical part of it, accessibility, wheelchair width, bathrooms, shower type stalls.
ADA
toilets, ADA requirements. And in the building codes today, we get into B1, B2, like in multifamily, if we do a multifamily unit, some of those units have to be ADA. As part of the code required a certain percentage. So those areas get much bigger.
okay.
Okay?
Kevin, real quick, just so that folks who want to go back and listen to this, and I can point people to this. Is that for folks that don't understand what this is, period, can you just give a brief understanding
what accessory dwelling unit is.
exactly what the purpose is and what it is.
In 2012, the demographics around the country, and statistically speaking, people are staying in their homes, or the parents are coming to live with them, or the kids are living with them. Vice versa, the kids are living with dad or mother or caretakers as part of the process, okay? So what the town did is that, okay, we're allowing accessory dwelling units. They're not rental units. I want to make this clear. They're not intended to be rental units. They're not made to be that. There's a deed restriction that goes with it, each one, that says that it's non-rental and gets recorded. That's the way it is. It's what it's intended to be. The financial operation of the two is a family thing. Okay, it may not be a rent, but it's an agreement, okay? But it's not being rented out to an unknown, like, let's say Joan wants to go live in his house. No, it doesn't work like that, okay? Unless she tells you she's a blood relative, I don't know how I'm gonna prove that one, okay? But that's the purpose of this thing. It's not to make a bunch of two families.
But the point is it's a standalone unit with its own.
Standing alone unit, meets the building codes and relates to all the safety, power, means of egress, accessibility, meets all those things, okay? All that comes into play. There's a gray area between the 1 and 2 family, but we get into what we call rentals, and we're not dealing with that. It has to be connected, it has to be part of the main house.
It's not standalone, separate from the building. It has
Correct.
to be
Yeah,
flush to
it
the
has
buil-
to be part of the house, has to be, whether it's, they can put the addition, connected into the kitchen area, connected into the hallway, above a garage, come down through into the house, and I have 2 of them being built now, where they're bigger than the 800 square feet, but the master bedroom and when the house is gonna go out there. They meet the 650, and even then we're having a hard time meeting that. We met it. House is built now, it's in the frame stage.
So why have the parameters of size?
Because you need to decide how big you're gonna go, instead of having, okay? And this is just the first 2 years we've done it. I'm looking at the size, because I'm finding out that's how it fits in. The 2 variances we had were pre-existing conditions prior to, in 2 large areas where we had 35 acres of land and a house, and we used a basement in one of these houses for the mother-in-law to be able to walk out to the veranda and pool, and it was shared space. That was 1,009 square feet. The board had granted that because there's no way to really restrict it for the use, because it's all common use. It's all shared space. There's gray area on that. It gets big. 99% of mine have been, I got 7 of them right now that are 5 up, and the other are in discussion now, and they're all falling within the 600 square feet, or waiting for this to go on. There's 3 that are waiting. If this gets approved, it'll fit into what they're doing. And trying to get it to fit in better with the house itself. Okay, sharing the space.
What's the disadvantage of having an ordinance then? Like, in other words, instead of changing it all the time, why is there, I can understand a minimum, but why is there a maximum? So in other words, as an example, right? When my mom was ill and dying, someone lived at home, her caretaker was 24/7, and she lived in the basement. And granted, we just spoke about that, but rather than have to go over a variance, what's the downside of having a top limit to that?
It's an experience. The town has decided to at least try it. Okay, accessory dwelling unit. There's been no problem with it. I don't see a maximum size now, but I don't see it grow much more than that.
I'm just saying, what's the rationale behind having a
It's
max?
a choice. It was a choice the town took. They wanted the maximum size, so I wanted to increase that maximum size. You're willing to do it, you do it. It's a matter of choice. It's like black or white.
No, I understand. So in my head anyways, I'm
In
going
your
through-
head, you're saying to me, why are you even sizing it?
Well, I can see minimum, because you're gonna have a minimum, a basic,
Minimum living areas
Right.
is 220 square feet.
right?
It's like those little things you see on TV, the little cabins, small homes.
Right, and I understand minimum things, cause,
Mhm.
you know, you gotta have a minimum of, you know, but I'm just struggling for.
Matter of choice.
I got
Matter
you.
of choice, okay? Jason, it's all about choices, okay? We like to, it's just like the minimum the maximum lot size, okay? Why is it an acre?
It controls someone from having a 1,000 foot house and adding a 4,000 square accessory unit. That would just look and be non-functional, so.
Well, then it's not an necessity.
Well, it's bigger than the courthouse.
bigger than-
It's
Yeah.
like swapping the use around,
Right.
Yep.
okay? That's all that will do.
What if someone asks, what's to stop someone from just adding a 800-foot addition and not calling it an accessory unit?
As long as it doesn't have the separated kitchen.
So
Living
that's what makes it the separate unit is
Yeah.
the kitchen.
When you start the separate functions, they got its own things. They
That's
don't
what I
have to
mean by
leave that
saying-
space for any length of time. They
Yep.
got their own little world. It's like living in an apartment house and going across the hall.
Okay.
Same idea. But we're trying to keep it town, in order to have a two-family house, you gotta have 65,000 square feet of land and 200 feet of road frontage. Why? It's always been that way.
No, I hear you, I was just trying to figure out how you came to the number
I
850.
just came a little bit, cause I'm seeing what the people wanna do. That's why I came to the 8,
Mhm.
cause it'll fit in better. I'm not dealing with trying to squeeze it in.
It's also the characteristics of the town. When you look at multifamily, you want to blend it into the environment of the town and the community so it fits with the aesthetics. So I think by the size limitation, you ensure it fits with the aesthetics of the neighborhood too.
It's,
So,
Well, because in my head, I'm thinking, rather than a build-out, which would be an entirely different thing, if it was an existing home that they were gonna parcel because they're having someone live there within the existing house. So if you got 2,000 square feet and you cut it to, like, you know, maybe in my head, again, I'm running like 50%, it can't exceed 50% of the total livable space. That way, if it's 2,000 square feet, it goes to 1,000, you can create a really nice livable space without even adding to the size of the house and changing the character.
some folks have done that as a downsize method, okay, where they don't need the big part of the house, they, like, one's downstairs and one's upstairs. When you get into splits, okay, with a walkout or something like that, you can do like that. They got the common entrance, it's all shared by the stairs,
but eventually, if you add enough to the accessory, it becomes a two-family.
that's correct. It gets
So
into the
that's
use.
probably the word accessory is there to keep it as secondary
I'm
use
trying
to
to
the
keep it
house.
secondary to the primary use.
Right.
Which
Okay,
is
that's the
what we
purpose
want.
of it, right,
Yep.
right there, secondary to what was there. And the main houses, some of them are 3,000 square feet, some are 25. Some of the early ones, like I live in, is only 1,200 to 1,800 square feet. Okay, you know, those are the things we run across.
Jen, what do you see other places? Do they do it in the square footage way, or?
Square footage is the most common way to do it. There are some communities that will add a percentage to it as well. But if you're talking, take a unit and split it 50-50, that's two-family.
Yeah.
You know, it
Yeah.
ceases to be accessory. So to ensure that unit remains accessory, a lot of times if they're gonna use a percentage basis, they'll say 30% of the total area. Or no more than 30% of the total area.
Didn't you have
Up to a
the last
maximum
meeting?
of so many square feet.
Last time you were here, I thought you had lists, and there were other towns were about the same square footage.
We're running about
I think you
the
had lists
same.
from Londonderry and,
Yeah, we're running the same on the square footage with 100 square feet, some are 1,000,
yeah,
some a little less.
yeah,
Some are detached.
which changes
Okay.
the character completely.
Well, it does and it does not, the variance request then, okay? Because
And I suppose in our town, our
De-
average size
de-
house, that fits in that.
detached
general area.
garage with a living area above, okay? That type of thought, that's what we're getting. It's not a
Yeah.
separate detached building for an accessory dwelling unit. It's like it's in the garage above.
Will we allow that with this, or because it's not part of the primary building, we don't
It's
allow
not
that,
part of the primary
Yep.
building, we don't allow it. If they wish to go that step,
the zoning?
we go to the zoning, but in most cases, it's gonna be bigger than the 800,
Yep,
okay?
cool. Any more questions? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So with no changes needed, take a motion to send this to town meeting.
So maybe.
Second.
Jeez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, carries 700.
I recommend we just drop the impact fee.
Throw the ball and walk up the door.
You're out of order.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep.
Next on the agenda is deliberative session preparations. And I don't know if that was just assigning who's doing what, which we did, or if that's going over any specific components.
Whatever you need to do to be ready for deliberative.
We have the speaking points. I think you gave the slides to Jason.
I did. The link is there. I'm not sure if you have access to it. I got at least one extra copy of the slides with the speaking points, and we got 2 extra copies, so I don't know who's
Tom and I,
speaking.
yeah, we're both speaking.
So we'll pass those up, so you've got hard copies.
Do you have them electronically that you could send me? If not,
I could
Russ asked
PDF
Jason to
it.
give it. Yeah, that's all I need.
I did put the link on the Google site. Did you
That
have
has
access
the actual
to it?
slides.
Yes. It's the full PowerPoint that Jason has set up for town meeting. I don't know if everybody has
Let's say
access
they,
to it. I don't know. I know he added, the presentation link.
Request access.
He may not have done everyone. He sent me the link so that I could
presentation.
add your
Yes.
slides.
First bullet presentation.
Oh,
Okay.
two things.
Up here if it works.
You don't have it.
Yeah, I'm always on the
Have it
bottom.
either.
You need permission.
Oh, I have it.
You got it?
You have it,
Oh.
okay.
Ask for permission then.
I did.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah, I've got it.
So we have that. So tell Jason I'm all set. He emails you back, unless he just did it now.
Yeah.
And the speaking points were all the items that we addressed and went through before. We're good there. The press release, did that go out?
Yes.
Yep. To this week's paper, or no, next week?
Wherever
Next-
they could fit it, so we'll have to watch and see if it's in this week's.
So it's either this Friday or next Friday. It's before deliberative.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
We did add the paragraph, extending an invitation for residents to attend board meetings.
Yep.
When they are, and that volunteers and new members are always welcome. Contact Joan for more info.
John, is the application online too? Is that-
I don't know. I think it might
If they
not
hit,
be.
if they hit you, they'll get your email automatically and you could just send an application?
Mhm.
Okay. And if it all said and people think we need for town meeting?
There's also posted the one pager.
Yep.
It's got black and white printing friendly maps on the back with zoom ins.
Yeah, the one page handout?
Yeah,
That's gonna be the stuffer for the HLN?
yeah, and you
Yep.
can use it for deliberative as well.
Yep.
I didn't know if you wanted to do copies or you've got the PDF of it
I think the one page, the HLN handout, we should have copies for.
for deliberative.
Yep. Because that one has the map on the back too, so people can see it.
So this is the same page you want to use for the stuffing,
It's, I'm
the
sorry.
HLN
Yep,
stuffing?
yep. And just copy the front and back and we'll hand that out at town meeting.
Okay.
And the press release, I don't think we have to hand out because that's basically the same information that's on
Right.
HLN, just in a different format.
Yeah, that's formatted to give directly to the press.
Yep.
Get that out to National Telegraph, the Manchester Union Leader, WMUR.
Are we having maps there or do we?
Not in the press release, but.
No, for
Oh.
the town meeting?
That's why I'm late. I have a poster for you.
Okay.
The plotter just decided it didn't want to plot this evening. So I will, I'll retry tomorrow morning and we'll drop it off.
If you have it, I'll pick it up tomorrow night.
Oh, that's true, you're there tomorrow evening. Perfect. All right, so I'll
Is-
just get it
Is
plotted.
it a poster
and-
for multifamily?
For multifamily, because there's nothing to show on a poster for,
Is it the whole town, not just north-south?
it is the whole town,
Okay.
but it's big, poster size, so it should be pretty clear and easy to discern. So,
Okay.
between the poster and then the one pager for deliberative, that should be,
Oh, that's plenty. Thank you for putting that together.
you're all set for speakers?
Yep, I'll do multifamily,
Okay.
my swan song. And then, we'll do the, accessory dwelling unit and impact fees. Accessory dwelling shouldn't really have that much, even the impact fees, we're just combining two things into one,
Yeah,
so it shouldn't be that bad.
keeps it pretty simple.
So we should be all good. Okay, next on the agenda is the Land Use Regulations Draft Amendments Subdivision Site Plan Appendix A. Now, what is that reference in on the agenda items in terms of the documents? Is that going to the regulation updates for SPSD? That was also on here?
Navigate back. Apparently slow. We got too many things open. Yeah, on your Google site, it's under agenda items, it's item 3, SPSD
Yep.
reg updates. So there were a couple pieces of this that you wanted to start with. This is pulling from the kind of housekeeping list of revisions that we looked at the last meeting, which that housekeeping list is posted under your resources as work plan. And it's just a page that lists out all the different housekeeping items.
Yep.
So the ones that you wanted to tackle first were the submission requirements that are found in the subdivision regulations and the site plan regulations. The main point was that there are various points in the submission process or resubmitting revised plan sets where we were getting far more paper than was necessary, and so just trying to really hone in on what we need.
Yep.
So the applicants aren't submitting extra copies that are landing in a recycle bin. So those are the ones that have started with. I went through beyond what we had flagged, just off the top of our minds there, in the to-do list that you looked at the last meeting. I did a search, find all, or whatever you want to call it, in the Word files for the subdivision and site plan regulations, and looked for every instance where the word copies was mentioned. And so I found a couple other spots that I pulled in as well. So more or less, I think we have that all folded in here. The other item to start with was there was a math correction for Appendix A, and
Yep.
so that is here. There were 2 illustrations in Appendix A that the road agent wanted you to consider, and those were exhibits B and C. I've pasted those images in here so that you can see them and what is currently in your regulation. The issue, I believe, was within the notes. It says that a street granite curb will be used at intersections and have a 6-inch reveal. I believe that is the piece that was of concern to the road agent.
Right.
So those are just in there for the sake of being in there for now, so you could see specifically what those 2 items were. The other piece,
Sorry, Jen.
yeah.
We're talking about the 2 drawings, right? Exhibit B and Exhibit C. Yeah, I'm bringing them up now, but I was bringing it up as you were saying, so the issue is what?
The road agent's concern is that plows will be pulling up the granite curbing if it is constructed as required.
And that's a 6-inch reveal currently,
Yes.
and he would like it to be,
He's not offered
Yep.
what he would want.
He does not want granite curb on the corners.
does not want granite curbs on the corners. Trying to think what,
Because he's getting the transition from the asphalt to the granite, and the plow catches the granite and pulls it out.
I know, it'll take I know, because it takes the hot top and throws it into the snowplow. So yeah, definitely. I understand what his issue is.
Now, with all these, we're doing the first draft this evening, and these items go to public hearing, or they don't have to go?
They do need to go to public hearing. I think initially you guys were thinking of just looking at them, if they all looked good, immediately moving forward on them. But when I went through the work plan and kind of flagged all of the potential changes that we have on the to-do list, I thought it might be worth holding off and doing all at once later this spring. And then then you don't end up having your regulations all peppered with different dates.
And this doesn't have to go to town meeting or anything like that, it's just strictly public hearing and then adopting it.
Correct. It does not have to go to town meeting. For your land use regulations, your zoning ordinance is
Yep.
what has to go to town meeting.
And all of these are land use.
Correct. Your site plan and subdivision regulations, and then their appendices. And
Yep.
so all of your Appendix A through I believe, are appendices to your site plan and subdivision regulations, which are your land use regulations.
I think it's a great idea, but if we could table it or hold it to do everything at one public hearing. So whenever you feel everything is, all the information's up there and you've digested it all, you've heard from everyone who needs to be heard from,
Okay.
just to have it all in one spot.
Okay. One of the pieces we talked about at the last meeting was the plan submission requirements, with Limerlac, and I did, touch base with Merrimack, Hudson, and Nashua. Merrimack and Hudson essentially follow the same procedure that you currently do, that when an application comes in, they simply verbally notify the applicant that it needs to go to Limerlac as well, and then it's up to the applicant to get the plan set to Limerlac. Nashua has, they have a technical review team, and so as part of their review process, they have, or their plan submission process, they have a list of who plans need to be sent to. And so they have a slightly more formal, more detailed, kind of a pre-application, not pre-application, but preliminary review before it makes it to the planning board. It goes through a technical review process.
Are any towns adjusting how they approach this because of the issues that were brought forward by them?
They
I know,
didn't
but-
mention that they were?
Because the last time we discussed how procedurally, if someone just has a question on what they can do, is too early to involve them, but it's also too late if they do decide to do something, the process starts. So
Right.
where's that fine line between, an inquiry versus a plan? I guess when does the plan officially start? I guess hand out their business cards to everyone that comes in with an inquiry.
Right.
Feel free to contact them with any questions, concerns that you may have, because they eventually are going to have to see what you're going to be doing.
Right, it's
So-
not a bad idea for Limerlac to have, materials on hand in each of the communities so that, if an application comes in, then, Joan would have something they could hand them and say, you're within the lower Merrimack River
Read this.
corridor, you need this information, submit, you also need to submit, and then it just kind of gives a little bit more strength to that
Sign
verbal
here that we gave it to
notification.
you.
Yeah, there you go.
And then,
Um,
who would follow up with them? Is that something the town would do, or to see
Well,
if they do have
since
some?
I'm the representative to Litchfield, it would
Okay.
probably be me, so.
Do you want to see if they have something that they've given the towns, just as a procedural handout, or some kind of information as to why they have to be contacted? Something we could,
Yeah, I don't know if they have anything like that. I think what they're looking for is they're trying to, what we're trying to do, is trying to see if we can get at the local level, information about either upcoming projects that may have an impact on the river. And, because one of the reasons for this is simply, the Lower Merrimack meets, at the Nashua Public Library. They're not meeting this, actually not meeting this week, but it's usually like the fourth Thursday of every month. And unfortunately, it has to be in a public, it has to be a public meeting.
Yep.
So we can't really, it can't be done by email necessarily. It can't be done by, it has to be in a forum where it's posted and it's public. That's meeting the rules of 91A. And I think what the issue was, and when I went to one of the regional meetings last time, was that, information is coming in, and unfortunately, DES has been trying to fix the problem in terms of communication with the different river advisory committees in the state. But what we're trying to do is we're just basically trying to get that information. We want to at least have that information if we can, because the law is such that we don't have a lot of time to make these decisions. And so that's really what I think Gene was trying to do with this letter. Was trying to make you guys aware and everybody else in the who's in that territory, which is Merrimack, Litchfield, Nashua, and Hudson, essentially those towns and the city of Nashua, to make sure that, you know, everyone's on board and knows what's going on. So it's really, you know, I mean, I've mentioned it at many of the meetings that we have that listed on our applications, you know, if
Yep.
something's Lower Merrimack, it's checked off, it goes to them. You know, I'm not sure, I mean, Hudson may have a different way of doing it, Merrimack has a different way of doing it. But really, it's to get in touch with the planning boards and the conservation commissions as well. And so this is really an effort to try to get that information out to those boards, so.
Joan, have you thought about what the easiest way would be to, you balance the inquiry versus a plan and when you should?
Well, I think would be good to have something to hand out to the applicant, telling them where they can submit the information to Limerlac, and, because they'll do it right away if they know where to send it.
Do we have that now? Or is there, when we get requests where we send out the copy now?
No, we don't send
The
the copy,
applicant.
the applicant does.
So we
Where
have
do
something
they
we can
send
hand
it?
out, so.
No, we don't have anything to hand out. Where do they send? Where do they send?
I think it goes to Gene Porter, because he's the chairman. So I think it's the chairman of the River Advisory Committee gets that information.
If he could just write up where it does, information does get sent, and what,
Type of information.
right, and when you meet, so we could have something to give
Okay.
to the applicant, that would be good.
Maybe you could make up a form that the town could give to the applicant,
Or put it
with
on
the
the
address
application.
on it.
Is it on the application now?
No,
But you said you check off something, it's on the
on, I
it's-
think on Jen's,
On the, on the site plan
site
applications.
plan application,
yeah.
but not, yeah.
It's
okay.
not a, it's not like a checklist, it's just a thing that
A
says
check mark,
Limeracq.
a box.
Yeah, it's a box you check.
See, they'd like it before that.
Because by then it's
but
too
that's,
late.
that leads to a problem. We can't, if something comes in under conceptual, we can't really hand that out if they haven't made the application yet. So as soon as they make an application, then it's, you know, an active
Well, that's why if we had
application.
something to hand them, then it's their responsibility as a landowner. And
As
they
the
know they
applicant,
have to do it.
to get it right.
Okay. Is that you said it has to be a public hearing, could you get an information like that before your next meeting, or is that something that would have to wait till?
I can email Gene and
Yeah,
see.
maybe just ask her procedurally.
Yeah,
if she has something.
I'll ask him about that. But usually, I mean, when we meet, it's in the Nashua Library, so, on the fourth Thursday of the month. I think the next meeting is in February, so
The fourth Thursday of the month you meet?
Now, there's
we're not meeting this Thursday.
there's a checklist on the website,
Yeah.
right?
The application.
Yeah, I think
On the
there is,
Limerlac website.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I mean,
So-
I think it's
Something, yeah, that-
it's more substantive information that you give them that they could send over to Limeracq. Meaning we don't have that now, it's a checkbox, but I think we don't say where to send it,
well, this is more than that.
or what has to be sent.
Are you looking at the Lower Merrimack LAC Development Review Checklist?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's pretty
there is,
extensive.
so Nashua RPC hosts a webpage for Limerlac, and this is posted there. It has Kath Nelson still listed as the chair and her address. So that is not,
that's not, that's
Correct anymore.
not correct anymore.
but looking at this, it looks more like this checklist is used, it's kind of the review guide for
Right.
the committee members to use.
Ask questions.
Yeah,
something,
to, as prompts when they're reviewing the applications.
But
for
if
things
a
that they're
person were to answer this and submit it,
Exactly.
it would give them all
Exactly,
the
it would be
information they needed right
fantastic.
then and there.
Yep,
Can
So
we
if
do a
we-
link to that, or is that proprietary, or?
Well, the
on there.
address isn't, the
Well,
chairman's
it's
not right.
public, it's on a public website, so it
Yeah.
can't be proprietary. I mean, if we linked that, if we, it may be, and that's the information we need to give, is this link saying, you need to go do this. And they would be getting it.
Right.
Okay. I think we have some points to look at for next time. And Jen, was there anything else with the land use regulations, or was that, is there anything you want to discuss this evening, or are we gonna put the master list together for the spring?
That was it for now, and then we'll kind of keep working through the rest. Let me go back to that page, sorry. think some of the easy ones to kind of keep tackling would be Appendix I and the new appendix item.
Mhm.
Appendix I was the conditional use application, just adding a little bit for prompts to help with the narrative piece of it that isn't there but is needed. And then the new appendix item would be the waiver request application, looking to Hudson as an example.
Okay. And I see that you put some master plan update items, so we're gonna start tackling those on future agendas. That we discussed last time, the chapters we wanna do. Okay.
Yeah, we can. Just have it as a discussion item for the next meeting, and then,
I think we discussed last time what we wanted to
Start.
start with.
right. I'm just thinking timing-wise, when I could do it justice.
You're busy now, I get it. So let's put the next
We could do
agenda
a
for
general
discussion.
discussion at the
Yeah.
next meeting, and then actually do some like work product review for the following meeting.
That's fine. So let's all agree on the, well, we already discussed the chapters, but agree on what we wanna tackle on the the list we wanna tackle. Do we have any applications this month?
No.
Okay. Joni had home occupancy renewals as the next item on the agenda. I'm assuming that's just me
Just sign, yeah.
for later, okay. The final item on the agenda is approving the January sixth, 2015 minutes. And has everyone had a chance to review those? They looked fine to me. Take a motion for the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes of January sixth, 2015.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
Three.
Passes 403. Any other business this evening?
Just a quick announcement, NRPC, Kerry Diaz has resigned to take another position. In the interim, Tim Roach is gonna take over and run it as the executive director. So, we wish her luck. And we wish Tim luck.
So noted. Anything else to be,
New applicant?
well, he hasn't officially applied, so I don't think,
You can talk to him.
Does he have to apply first?
No.
No? Okay. Would you like to come forward? Sure. Just state your name for the record, please,
Matthew Shoemaker,
and your address.
20 Greenwich Road.
Thank you for coming this evening. As you probably heard, our pleas for alternates for the planning board. So, and if you have any questions for the board in terms of process, procedure, background, or any.
I'll probably figure it all out as I go.
Okay, right. Formal process, I believe, if you are interested in applying, is Joan could get you an application, and then from that point, we had to have him come in to meet with us, or if he decides to apply, Correct.
Yeah,
And then
should
we
meet
make
with the board and then
and then make a
Then you decide
recommendation
if
to the
you're gonna-
selectmen.
forward to the selectmen.
So not to put you on the spot, but you'll be on the agenda the next meeting. So hopefully you decide to apply, but Joan could give you an application. If you want to think about it, or have any questions, just email any of us. We're more than happy to answer your questions.
Awesome.
Great, thank you for coming. Okay. Seeing no further business, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
A second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstains? Carries 700. Our next meeting will be on Tuesday, February 3rd at 7 PM. Have a great evening.
Do you want to give me your email address and I'll